Hello and welcome to my walkthrough of the Pearson Edexcel GCSE November 2024 Mathematics Paper 3 Calculator Paper Higher Tier. Let's jump straight into it. Question number 1. The table shows information about the times in minutes 100 people took to complete a bike race. On the grid below, draw a frequency polygon for this information. So we can see for the first one, it's between 120 and 140 minutes. So what we're going to do is position right between the two at 130, and the frequency needs to be 12. We can see it's 1 square per box upwards, so we just need to go 2 boxes higher than 10 and line it up with the midpoint of the time at 130. Similarly, the midpoint of these two will be 150, and we want that at 28, so 150 and 28 is there. Next one is 170 midpoint, and that will be 30. 190 midpoint and 22. And lastly, 210 midpoint and 8. And we're going to start at 0. We're going to draw lines to connect these, just like this. And that's our frequency polygon. Question number 2. Write 3.402 times 10 to the 5 as an ordinary number. So this is going to be 3.402, but we need to move the decimal point 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So our answer is going to be 340200. Write 0.8026 in standard form. We only have to move the decimal point once here to go behind the 8. So that's just going to be 8.026 times 10 to the minus 1. Question 3. Use ruler and compasses to construct the bisector of angle ABC. You must show your construction lines. Now I'm on an iPad, so I can't show you my ruler and compasses, but what you're going to do, so you're going to start by positioning your pencil on point A and the point of your compasses on B, and you're going to construct an arc that will look something like this. Sorry, it's a bit sketched, but you can appreciate what I'm trying to show you. Then you're going to move it, position your pencil on C, and still put the point of the compass on B again, and you're going to construct another arc, which will look something like this. And I'll just make it a little bit obvious what I'm trying to do here. You're going to then have 2 arcs that will cross over at a certain point. Now, I've drawn this very, very rough, but where the 2 points cross, you will then draw a straight line from B to where those points cross, and that will be your bisector. It will look something like this, but obviously a lot more accurate with your compasses in the exam. Question 4. Dan is playing cards. The probability that he will win a game of cards is 0.3. Dan plays 2 games of cards. Complete the probability tree diagram. So this is quite straightforward. If 0.3 is a probability he wins, then it's going to be 0.7 is the probability he doesn't win. And that will be the case throughout the entire tree diagram. Part B, work out the probability that Dan does not win either game. So we need does not win, does not win. It's going to be this one multiplied by this one. So 0.7 times 0.7, which is just 0.49. Question number 5. Robin buys a total of 240 pens and pencils, where the number of pens compared to the number of pencils is 3 to 5. Robin pays 9p for each pen. She sells each pen for 11p. Robin pays 6p for each pencil. She sells each pencil for 10p. Robin sells all the pens and pencils. Work out Robin's percentage profit. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So if they're in the ratio 3 to 5, then 3/8 of the total number of pens and pencils are pens, and 5/8 are pencils. So 3/8 of 240, just do that on my calculator, is just going to be 90, which means we have 150 pencils. So she has paid for each pen 90 times 9p, 810p. She has paid for each pencil 150 times 6p, so 900p. And she sells and each p for 11p, each pen for 11p, so 90 times 11p is 990p. And she sells each pencil for 10p, so 1500p. So for the profits, she is going to have 180p profit on the pens, 600p profit on the pencils, total profit 780p. The total amount she paid was 810p plus 900p, so 1710p. So the percentage profit is going to be 780 divided by 1710 times 100. And on my calculator, I get 45.6%. And it wants it to one decimal place, so that's what we've got. Question 6. The stem and leaf diagram shows the test scores of 23 students from School A. 23 students from School B did the same test. Their median score was 56. The range of their scores was 47. Compare the distribution of the test scores from School A with the distribution of the test scores of the students from School B. So we have 23 students, so the 12th one is going to be the median. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 57 is median of School A compared to the 56, so higher than School B. That will be 2 of your marks. And then we need to look at the range. So the 79 minus the 30 is going to be 49 is the range of School A. And that is going to also be higher than School B. And that's all we need to do there for 4 marks. Question 7. Jana used her calculator to find the value of a number t. The answer on her calculator began 10.2. Complete the error interval for t. So we're going to go from 10.2 all the way up to 10.3. And it can't be less than or equal to 10.3 because then it will start with 10.3 on the calculator, but it can be greater than or equal to 10.2 as the 2 is the number we're told it starts with. Question 8. ABC is a right-angled triangle. Calculate the length of AB, give your answer correct to one decimal place. So we want AB, this is going to be the opposite side. We have the adjacent side, so we can work this out using tan. So tan of the angle 62 equals AB over 7.6. AB equals 7.6 tan 62. Just do that on my calculator. 7.6 times tan 62 is 14.3. Again, they want it to one decimal place. Question 9. Simplify fully 2x cubed y to the 5 times 7x squared y. Just looking at the numbers, that's going to be 2 times 7, which is going to be 14. We have x cubed times x squared, which gives us x to the 5, and y to the 5 times y gives us y to the 6. Part B. Simplify m squared to the power minus 3. As we have brackets here, we're going to be multiplying the powers rather than adding them together like we did in the first one, so this one is simply m to the powers minus 6. Question 10. In a sale, the normal prices are reduced by 15%. Amina buys a dress in the sale for £46.75. Work out the normal price of the dress. So to work this out, we would have had a number A, and we would have multiplied that number by 100% minus 15%, which would have then given us £46.75. Therefore, A times 0.85 would have given us £46.75. Therefore, we can work out A by doing 46.75 divided by 0.85. And we just get £55 as our answer there. Question 11. OAB is a sector of a circle with centre O and radius 4.7. The sector has a perimeter of 34.3 meters. Find the size of the reflex angle AOB. Give your answer correct to the nearest degree. So we'll start by working out 2 pi r, which is the circumference of a full circle with that radius, which is just going to be 2 times pi times 4.7, which we get as 29.53 meters. That would be the full circle. We know that, let's actually just call this x, we know that 34.3 is going to be the circumference less x plus 4.7 and then plus 4.7 again, because this is also the radius of the circle here. So let's just take these 4.7s onto the other side. So 34.3 minus 4.7 minus 4.7 again. We get 24.9 equals the circumference minus x. We already have the circumference is 29.53 minus x. Therefore, x equals 29.53 minus 24.9 is 4.63. If we can then work out what percentage of the circle x is, then we can correspond that to the angle. So 4.63 out of the full circumference of the circle, which is 29.53, divided by 29.53 gives us 0.16% of the circle. Therefore, if we do 0.16% of 360 degrees, we can work out this interior angle here, which we'll call theta, times 360. We get 56.4. Therefore, the reflex angle that we actually want is 360 minus 56.4, and we get 303.55. Give your answer correct to the nearest degree. 304 degrees. And that's us done. Question 12. Rudy invests £4,500 in a savings account. He gets compound interest at a rate of 2.4% for the first year and then 1.8% for each extra year. Work out the value of Rudy's investment at the end of the 3 years. So after 1 year, it's going to be 4,500 multiplied by 1.024. Do that on my calculator. 4608. And then for the next 2 years, it's going to be 4608 times 1.018 times 1.018. And we get 4775.38. Bruna buys a car for 7,500. The value of the car depreciates by X% each year. At the end of the 2 years, the value of the car is 4107. Work out the value of X. So what this is going to be is 7,500 multiplied by 1 minus a value, which will be less than 1, squared equals 4107. And then if I do 4107 divided by 7,500, we get 1 minus a squared equals 0.5476. Square root both sides. 1 minus a equals 0.74. Therefore, a equals 0.26. They want the percentage, so 26% is the percentage. So all I've done there is I've done effectively the question backwards. So if we knew that it was depreciating by 26% each year, we would have to do 1 minus 26% squared, what's over the 2 years, multiplied by the original cost. So it's like working the question backwards. Question 13. ABC and AED are straight lines. BE and CD are parallel. Work out the area of the trapezium BCDE. So the area of your trapezium is A plus B over 2 times height. So in this case, if I just give us a height here. We'll call that h. And then we will call this a, and we will call this b. So we already have b as 4.2 centimeters. So this is a 90-degree angle here. And we already have what a is, because a is this full length CD here. So let's actually put these in. So this is 6.3 plus 4.2 over 2 multiplied by height. So all we're missing here is the height, and the height is actually BC. So if we can work out the length of BC, we're done, basically. So we have, since these are right-angled triangles, we can say that 4.2 divided by 6.3, which is your side BE divided by your side CD, the scale factor of those two sides is going to be the equivalent of the scale factor of these two sides. So 4.2 divided by 6.3 is the same as 2/3. Therefore, the side length AC multiplied by 1/3, so this will be 1/3 of AC, and this will be 2/3 of AC. So if I do 10.8 divided by 3, I get 3.6. Therefore, BC is 3.6. Therefore, our trapezium area is 6.3 plus 4.2 over 2 times 3.6. 6.3 plus 4.2 divided by 2 times 3.6, and I get 18.9 centimeters squared. Question 14. Prove algebraically that 0.462 recurring can be written as 229 over 495. These questions are always pretty similar. We need to say let x equal 0.462 recurring. Therefore, 10x can be written as 4.62 recurring. And then the clue is always in the fraction they're giving you to try and work back to. So I'm going to then say 1000x, because this is 500, so I'm thinking they're going to make us go to 1000 and divide back by 2. 1000x is going to be 462.62. So if I then do 1000x minus 10x, it's going to be 462.62 recurring minus 4.62 recurring. Gets rid of the 62 recurrings, and we just get 458. Therefore, 990x equals 458. If I divide both sides by 990, we get x equals 458 over 990. Divide top and bottom by 2. 229 over 495 as required. Question 15. Make P the subject of the formula T equals 2 lots of 2P minus 3 over 5 minus 2P. So I'll start by multiplying by the 5 minus 2P. So I get 5T minus 2PT. And we'll expand out the brackets to get 4P minus 6. We'll put all the P's on one side. So we'll say 5T minus, or plus 6 even, equals 4P plus 2PT. Now we'll take the P outside the bracket, and we'll say 5T plus 6 equals P lots of 4 plus 2T. Divide through by 4 plus 2T, we get 5T plus 6 over 4 plus 2T equals P. That is our answer. Question 16. OBCD is a rectangle, DCE is a straight line. B has coordinates 2 minus 4. 2 minus 4. E has coordinates 12 minus 6.5. Work out the coordinates of D. You must show all your working. So in order to find this, I'm going to need to find out the equation of the line that D and E are on. Now, we can see, because this is a rectangle, that the line OB is going to be parallel to the line DE. So if I work out the gradient of OB will be the gradient of DE. So the gradient of OB is going to be the difference in y divided by the difference in x. We know this is the origin, so this is 0, 0. So the difference in y is going to be 0 minus 4, so 4, over the difference in x, which is 0 divided by 2, so minus 0 minus 2, so the gradient is minus 2. So we can then say dE is y equals minus 2x plus c. We'll put in our numbers into that equation. So we've got a 12 and a minus 6.5. So we have minus 6.5 equals minus 2 times 12 plus c. So minus 6.5 equals minus 24 plus c. Therefore c equals 17.5. So our equation of dE is going to be y equals minus 2x plus 17.5. What we're also going to need to do is find the equation of the line OD, and the gradient of this one is perpendicular to OB. Therefore, the gradient is just going to be minus 1 over minus 2, so a half. We also have the point 0, 0, which lies on OD. So y being 0, y equals a half x plus c, we can say 0 equals a half x, which is 0, plus c. Therefore, c equals 0. So the equation of OD is going to be y equals x over 2. Last step, which I'll just do up here, we know that d lies on both lines. So we can say y equals x over 2 and y equals minus 2x plus 17.5. So I'll replace y with x over 2. Multiplied through by 2, we get x equals minus 4x plus 35. 5x equals 35. X therefore equals 7. And we already know that y equals x over 2. So y is going to be 3.5. So our answer is 7, 3.5 for D. Question 17. Here is triangle ABC. Work out the area of triangle ABC. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So we know the area is half of AB sine C. But as you can see from the diagram, we have 3 side lengths and no angles. So we're going to have to use the cosine rule to find an angle. So if we say a squared, if we say this is side A, this is side B, and this is side C, we're going to say a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. And then obviously this is the angle we're trying to get, A. So a squared is 18.2 squared, b squared is 7.9 squared, c squared 14.6 squared, minus 2 times 7.9 times 14.6 cos A. If I put all these numbers into my calculator, we get 18.2 squared is 331.24 equals 7.9 squared plus 14.6 squared is 275.57 minus 230.68 cos A. Taking this onto the other side and then dividing through by the minus 230.68, we get 331.24 minus 275.57 divided by minus 230.68. We get cos A equals minus 0.24132, etc. If I do cos minus 1 of the answer, I get A is approximately 103.97. Now we can do half AB sine C on these angles. Obviously C is actually A in this scenario and AB is BC, but you get the idea. So we're going to do half times 7.9 times 14.6 times sine of 103.97. Sine of that, oops, multiplied by 14.6, multiplied by 7.9, multiplied by a half, and I get 55.97. Give your answer correct to three significant figures, 56.0 centimetres squared. Question 18. Maria wants to find an estimate for the number of frogs in a lake. On Saturday, she catches 40 of the frogs. She puts a tag on each frog and releases them. On Monday, she catches 55 of the frogs. 11 of the frogs have tags. Work out an estimate for the total number of frogs in the lake. You must show all your working. If she caught 55 frogs and 11 of them had tags, we can say 1/5 of them have tags. And she tagged 40. Therefore, estimate is that 40 equals 1/5 of total. Therefore, the total is going to be 40 times 5, 200 frogs. State one assumption you've made, that all tags are still attached to the frogs. Could have easily become detached. No, they could have more frogs in there than she had before. There's loads of assumptions you can make for that, and it gives plenty of leeway in the mark scheme. Question number 19. The diagram shows a cone. The radius of the base of the cone is 3/4 of the height of the cone. The total surface area of the cone is 54 pi centimeters squared. Work out the height of the cone. So I'm going to start with the total surface area of the cone, which we are told is 54 pi. And that's going to be the curved area plus the base area. So that's going to be pi RL, as we're given in the question, plus pi r squared, by definition of the area of a circle. So let's just take a pi out of everything here because it's on each term. So 54 equals RL plus r squared. We know that r equals 3/4 of the height of the cone. So we can say this is 3/4 times the height times L plus 3/4 times the height squared. So we will hold fire for a second there, and we will look at this diagram on the right hand side, where this is actually a right angled triangle, where L is the hypotenuse. So I can say that L squared equals R squared plus H squared using Pythagoras. We'll put the 3/4 H back in again as R, so 3/4 H squared plus H squared. That is 9/16 H squared plus H squared, which is actually 25/16 H squared. Therefore, L equals 5/4 H, as L can't be negative. So now we'll put this value for L back into our equation up here. So we have 54 equals 3/4 times H times 5/4 H plus 3/4 H squared. So we can say this is 15/16 H squared plus 9/16 H squared. So this gets us 24/16 H squared. So if I multiply both sides by 16 and then divide by 24, we get 36 equals H squared. Therefore, H equals 6, as it cannot be a negative as we're looking at distances. Question 20. Solve the simultaneous equations y squared equals 3x squared plus 4, y plus 2x equals 7. Give your solutions to three significant figures. So I'm just going to put equation 2 into equation 1. So we get y equals 7 minus 2x, just rearranging equation 2. So I'm then going to put 7 minus 2x squared equals 3x squared plus 4. I'll expand this out to get 49 minus 14x twice, so minus 28x, plus 4x squared equals 3x squared plus 4. We'll simplify this out, we get x squared minus 28x plus 45 equals 0. Use the quadratic formula, so minus b is going to be 28 plus minus the square root of minus 28 squared minus 4 times 45 times 1 all over 2. 28 squared, it's the same as minus 28 squared, that's 784, minus 4 times 45, 604 in our square root, plus minus 604 over 2. Square root of 604 is 24.58 plus minus the square root, plus minus 24.58 over 2. So our answers are going to be 28 plus 24.58 over 2, 26.29. And it's going to be 28 minus 24.58 over 2, which is 1.71. And that is going to be our x values. And then our y values we can work out by just popping these into equation 2. So what did we say? Y equals 7 minus 2x. So when x is 26.29, 7 minus 2 times 26.29, I get minus 45.58. And on the other one, when x is 1.71, we get 7 minus 2 times 1.71, 3.58. And what does the question want? 3 significant figures. So we're going to say the solutions are x equals 26.3, y equals minus 45.6, x equals 1.71, y equals 3.58. And that's us done for 4 marks. Question 21, here is the graph of y equals f of x. On the grid, draw the graph of y equals minus f of x. This is just going to be every y value that is on the graph currently negative. So this is going to be this point, this point here is going to correspond to this point here. That's going to correspond to there. Then we have 3 in a row, or a straight line rather, like this. So I just need to use a ruler in your exam. And it's going to be a straight line down to here. And make sure you label it y equals minus f of x. Here is a sketch of the graph y equals sine x. The point marked P is the turning point on the graph. The graph of y equals sine x is translated to give the graph y equals sine of x plus 180 plus 4. Following the translation, the point P shown on the graph below moves to point R. Find the coordinates of R. Well, P is currently 270 minus 1 by the nature of the sine graph. To get the translated point, you just need to change the x value to be 270 less the 80 that you've already put in the formula here, the 180. So that's going to come out as 90. And then for the y coordinate, you're going to do a similar thing. You're going to take the minus 1, but you're going to add the 4 on. And you're going to get 3. So our answer here is 93. Question 22. Here is a velocity time graph for an aeroplane. Work out the estimate for the distance the aeroplane travelled in the first 30 seconds. Use 3 strips of equal width. Equal width will be 10 seconds per strip. So I'm just going to draw these in straight away. And we need to find an estimate for the area under the curve. So we will call this A, B, I better draw the third one in just to be extra safe, C. So for A, it's going to be a time of 10 multiplied by, what is that, 54 over 2. For B, it's going to be a time of 10 multiplied by 76 plus the 54 over 10. I better put my brackets in correctly here. And then over 2 even, sorry. And then for C, it's going to be what is that? 92. So 10 times 76 plus 92 over 2. And the area of each of these is going to be 270 meters. And then 76 plus 54 times 10 over 2, 650 meters. 76 plus 92 times 10 over 2 is 840 meters. Therefore, estimated total distance is going to be the three of these added up. So 840 plus 650 plus 270, 1,760 meters. And the final question on the paper, sketch the graph of y equals x squared minus 6px minus 7, where p is greater than 0, showing the coordinates of the turning point in terms of p and the coordinates of the intercept with the y-axis. You must show all your working. Well, the intercept is where x equals 0. So when x equals 0, this term equals 0, this term equals 0, and you're left with y equals minus 7. So the intercept is 0 minus 7. So I'll draw that somewhere on here. 0 minus 7. And then for the turning point, we need to use completing the square. So what have we got? Y equals x squared minus 6px minus 7. So we can rewrite this as y equals x minus 3p squared. Now 3p squared is going to give you 9p squared. So we need to take this back off again to get back to our original term. And then the 7 remains. So when we were to, if we were to expand this back out, we would get x squared minus 6px plus 9p squared. That's why we're taking the 9p squared back off again. And then we will just rewrite this as y equals x minus 3p squared plus minus 9p squared minus 7. And nice and easy, that means that the turning point is going to be where x equals 3p, because that will make this bracket equal 0, and where y equals 9p squared minus 9p squared minus 7, because if that bracket equals 0, then y just equals whatever the right bracket is. So I'll write this as a coordinate, 3p minus 9p squared minus 7. So that is going to be, could be anywhere on this graph, really. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you just need to make sure. I'll just put it here. I'll just call this 3p minus 9p squared minus 7. And then we will draw a nice smooth, it's not the smoothest. As long as you get the shape right and your turning point looks about right, you'll get the mark in the answer. That's the last question. As ever, thanks for watching. Hope this was very helpful, and I will catch you next time.